Good morning, students. Today I am going to deal with the topic idioms and phrases. Well, I hope all of you know the term phrases. What does the word phrase mean? Phrase is a group of words having some sense, having some meaning. Say for example, a handsome boy, a beautiful girl, in the morning, etc. Now, let's look at the title that I have written here, Idioms and Phrases. So, what are idioms? Let us examine this with the help of a few examples. See, look at the first phrase that I have written here. This phrase is also an idiom with flying colors. When the results were announced, Raju came out with flying colors. I repeat the sentence. When the results were announced, Raju came out with flying colors. Now, what does the phrase with flying colors mean? Does it mean that he came out with the result, throwing colors everywhere? No. It means that Raju passed the examination with good marks, with high grades. So, one thing that we understand when we have used that phrase in a sentence is that the meaning, the total meaning of the phrase is different from that of the meaning of the individual words. Say for example, flying has nothing to do with passing the examination, colors has nothing to do with getting good marks. But when put together, it indicated getting good marks. Probably it has an association with the celebration that we make if we pass with good marks. So, we understand that any idiom has got a metaphorical meaning, or an idiom is an expression having figurative meaning or contextual meaning. Its total meaning is different from that of the meaning of the individual words used. Now, let's see the next example. Once in a blue moon. I'll use it in sentence. Once in a blue moon, Ravi attends the class. Once in a blue moon, Ravi attends the class. What does it mean? Does it mean that Ravi comes to the class only on a blue moon day? No. See, blue moon day, it's a term that we have given to a scientific phenomenon. It doesn't mean that moon will appear blue in color. It doesn't mean that Ravi comes to the class only when the blue moon arises. Blue moon happens very rarely. So, the expression, the idiom, once in a blue moon means rarely. So, what is the meaning of the sentence? Very rarely Ravi attends the class. Now, just check these two sentences. Once in a blue moon, Ravi attends the class. Rarely Ravi attends the class. What difference do you find? Both the sentences convey the same meaning. But don't you think that the first expression enriches your language? Don't you think that your language has improved, or you are using your language in an advanced way when you use this phrase once in a blue moon? Doesn't it sound creative? Yes. So that is the advantage of having idioms and phrases in your common usage. Now let's see the next example that I have written here, cats and dogs. I'll use it in sentence. It is raining cats and dogs. It is raining cats and dogs. What does it mean? It is raining, we understand. But do you think cats and dogs fall down when it rains? No. So cats and dogs is an idiomatic expression. It is an idiom which means heavily, raining heavily. So the sentence, it is raining cats and dogs, means raining very hard, it is raining heavily. Big droplets of water fall down when it rains. Doesn't it sound interesting? Yes. Now let's see the next one, a piece of cake. It's a very common expression. All these expressions that I have written, you must be familiar with. English exam was a piece of cake for me. If you ask a student who comes out of the exam hall and if the student replies, English exam was a piece of cake for me, what does it mean? Does it mean that the student has been given a piece of cake along with the answer sheet to write the answers? Does it mean that he has eaten that and then come out of the hall? No. See, what about the cake? What's the speciality of cake? Usually, cake is spongy, smooth, soft. So, a piece of cake is also delicious. So, when you say the English exam was a piece of cake for me, it means the English exam was very easy. It was so smooth and I wrote everything in a perfect way. So, a piece of cake is an idiomatic expression which means something that is quite easy to deal with. Now, see the next, bed of roses. I'll use it in a sentence. Life was not a bed of roses for Jayalalitha. Life was not a bed of roses for Jayalalitha. What does this expression mean? You just think about a bed made of roses. You know, the rose petals are so smooth and soft and fragrant, red in color also. So you just, pick all the petals, you take out the petals and you just line it on top of your bed and imagine that you lie down on the bed. It will be so smooth and soft and fragrant also, which means it is a pleasant experience. But when you say life was not a bed of roses for Jayalalitha, it doesn't mean that she tried to make a bed of roses and she tried to sleep on that. It means that life was not so smooth and fortunate for her. So, bed of roses means something that is so fortunate, something that is so smooth and happy. Life is always with thorns and, pricky, and it's not something that favors you all. You will have a lot of obstacles and you will have to cross that. So, life was not a bed of roses means life was not so smooth and comfortable. So, with these 5 expressions, I hope the meaning of idioms and phrases or the meaning of the term idiom is clear to you. Idioms are expressions having metaphorical meanings. Metaphorical meanings means figurative meanings. I have written it here. They always have figurative meanings. They have contextual meanings. Second thing, it is peculiar to a language. What do you mean by peculiar to a language? Each idiom is related to the language in which you use. Say for example, an idiom in English language, an idiom that you find in English language may not be found in another language because it is peculiar to that language. Okay? Now, the third fact about an idiom is that it reflects the culture and tradition of the language in which it is used. So, there are many idioms which reflect the culture of the English people, the tradition of the English people. In Hindi, we say muhavre, just sayings you can say. It's a saying that is peculiar to a language. It reflects the culture and tradition of that language. Now, the importance of using idioms and phrases in your language is that it makes your language different, it makes your language sound creative and interesting. Especially when you go for a competitive exam and when you are given an opportunity to speak, if you are able to introduce a few idioms in your common usage in your speech, definitely the interviewers would have a very good impression about you, because idioms always enrich the language. Now, it is estimated that there are minimum 25,000 idioms and phrases just in English language. See the number, so huge. 25,000 idioms and phrases in English language alone. Do you think it's easy for non-native speakers like us to learn this by heart? No. But we can find a few common idioms and phrases, and this would help us in using our language in a better way. So how much do we know, or how much do we try to know? We know a little, we just know the tip of the iceberg. See the expression tip of the iceberg? See, 1/10 of the iceberg is seen outside water, the rest is underwater. So when you say, I know only the tip of the iceberg, it means I know very little. So these are the features of idioms and phrases. Now let us see a few more idioms and phrases, and let us use them in sentences. So another common idiom that we find is change of heart. Let us use it in a sentence. Raju had a change of heart when Rani decided to go away. Raju had a change of heart when Rani decided to go away. What does it mean? Does it mean that he changed his heart literally? No. The literal meaning is different. Change of heart means change your opinion. Now see the next one, apple of one's eye. Mary was the apple of her father's eye. So what do you mean by that? Apple of one's eye means so precious, someone so loved, someone who is so dear. So Mary is so dear to her fathers. That's why we can say Mary is the apple of her father's eye. The apple of the eye refers to the iris, which is so precious to us, which helps us to see. That's why it's associated with the word loved so dear or precious. See the next one, on cloud 9. When Tina got promotion, she was on cloud 9. What does this mean? Does it mean that we can, count the clouds by 1, 2, 3, 4, etc.? No. On cloud 9 means so happy, extremely happy. So Tina, when she got promotion, she became extremely happy. That's why we say Tina was on cloud 9. Beat around the bush. This phrase, this idiom, you might have often heard your teachers telling you. Don't beat around the bush. Come to the point. Especially when they go through your answer papers. What does it mean? Beat around the bush means simply doing some activity somewhere near, but not hitting on the exact thing. See the next one, hold one's tongue. When you children try to interfere in elders' affairs, you might have heard your parents say, hold your tongue. When you say hold your tongue, it doesn't mean that your tongue has to be kept still inside your mouth. It means keep silent. Be silent. You need not speak. And it's often used as an admonishing phrase. Now, birds of a feather. We might have heard the saying, birds of a feather flock together. So birds of a feather means people having similar characteristics or personality, similar traits. Or you can say birds of a feather easily become friends. You can make friendship with a person who has got the same wavelength. So birds of a feather flock together. They go together. See the next one, at the 11th hour. Ramesh reached the railway station at the 11th hour. It doesn't mean that Ramesh has reached the railway station at 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. It means the last moment. Ramesh reached the railway station at the last moment. Probably when the train was about to leave, he reached and somehow he was able to get into the train. See the next one, cup of tea. See, for most of the students, maths is a very difficult subject. I have heard many saying, mathematics is not my cup of tea. What does it mean? Does it mean that the subject can be, cooked and you can just consume it as tea? No. It means, cup of tea means it's not mine. It's very, very difficult. So I don't accept it. My cup of tea. Mathematics is not my cup of tea means mathematics and I usually do not have agreement. It's very, very difficult for me. So I don't usually touch that area. See the next one, put in cold storage. It's again it's a common expression, put in cold storage. When the boss assigned a new task to Shalini, she put it in cold storage. When the boss assigned a new task to Shalini, she put it in cold storage. Doesn't mean that the new task assigned to Shalini has been kept in a fridge. It means keeping it pending. So the work assigned to Shalini has been pending. She did not do anything to complete the task. For some time she has just kept it there only. So keep the task pending. That is what put in cold storage means. Now see, fit as a fiddle. Even at the age of 70, Donna Laura was fit as a fiddle. Even at the age of 70, Donna Laura was fit as a fiddle. Now what do you mean by fit as a fiddle? It means in full health, in good health. You need to keep the strings of the fiddle tight. So fit as a fiddle means strong and in good health. Now see the next one, blessing in disguise. The lockdown came as a blessing in disguise to many couch potatoes. Lockdown came as a blessing in disguise to many couch potatoes. I have used two idioms in this sentence. What do you mean by blessing in disguise? You have been blessed, but that blessing came in a different form. Lockdown, nobody must have liked lockdown because you were forced to be inside your homes. You were not allowed to move out or roam freely. So everything had come to a halt with lockdown. So though many did not like, there was a set of people who liked it. It came as a blessing for them. Who were they? Couch potatoes. Now what do you mean by a couch potato? Couch potato is one who likes sofa so much, one who is so fat, one who is so fond of watching TV and having food all the time. It is more or less similar expression used to describe a lazy person, one who always likes to be on sofa, eating food, watching TV without doing anything creative. So I have given you a set of examples to describe what idioms and phrases are. There are many more idioms and phrases. Some of the idioms and phrases have been used in sentences in your workbook. Meanings have been given also. Now you may wonder, why should you study idioms and phrases? You are non-native speakers of English, but it's very important part of language as it ornates the language, as it helps you to improve your expressions, and it always creates a good impression in the minds of the listeners or the readers. So my advice to all students is that, at least find a few idioms and phrases, try to learn their meanings by heart and try to use them in sentences so that it might be helpful for you. Now you have studied many idioms and phrases and usages in your textbook. In all the prose chapters that you have studied, idioms and phrases have a place. So with respect to the examination point of view, you will be given 1 or 2 or 3 sentences from one of the prose lessons, and you have to fill in the blanks given in those sentences with the right expression given in brackets. We will just deal with that later. Before that, let me just read out the definition of idioms and phrases as given in your workbook. An idiom may be defined as an expression peculiar to a language. We have already touched upon that point. An idiom is always an integral part of the language. It's peculiar to a language. It's a special phrase whose total meaning is different from individual words in the phrase. Most often you will not find any relationship between the total meaning of the phrase and the meaning of the individual words that constitute the phrase. Say for example, on cloud 9. It means extremely happy. And cloud 9 on. All the 3 words do not have any suggestion of the meaning extremely happy. But when put together, it gives out this meaning. So, idioms often give out metaphorical meanings, figurative meanings and contextual meanings. So, when you read them in sentences, you will understand what they stand for. See the next. It not only emphasizes what we want to say, but also impresses the listener and the reader. Yes, when you use idioms and phrases in your language, it impresses the listener as well as the reader. Some examples are given, of which 3 I have already discussed with you. You can read and then later find out the remaining things. Now, you can go to page number 18 of your workbook, where some idioms and their meanings are given and they have also been used in sentences. I will just cover that much, and I think with this the term, the phrase, idioms and phrases become so clear to you. Let's just see the idioms. To keep one's shirt on. It means to control one's temper. To keep one's shirt on and to control one's temper. Meaning is controlling one's temper. There is no association with the literal sense of the term here. I'll read it in sentence. I'll use it in sentence. It is difficult to keep one's shirt on when Ravi keeps arguing. See the next one. To be under one's thumb. To be under one's thumb. Thumb always stands for power, control. So the meaning is to be under someone's complete control. To have a swollen head means to admire oneself greatly. Swollen head does not mean that your head has swollen. It just means to have a great impression about oneself, to admire yourself. Let us use it in sentence. All this praise about her intelligence has given Usha such a swollen head that she cannot talk to anyone without showing off. So when everybody praised Usha's intelligence, she thought, or she started projecting herself, because this has given her a good impression about herself. Now see the next one. To blow one's own trumpet. To blow one's own trumpet means to praise oneself. And the sentence here is, it is difficult to listen to Don Gonzalo. You are very much familiar with him, I hope. He blows his own trumpet as soon as he opens his mouth. What does it mean? Gonzalo keeps speaking about himself a lot when he opens his mouth. So blowing one's own trumpet means praising oneself. Next, to be hand in glove with means to engage in wrongdoing. And see the example. Don't believe this man. He is hand in glove with the thief. What does it mean? This man and the thief, they have got good, a relationship with each other. So you don't believe him. Hand in glove, just put your hand inside the glove. They are so integral together. That's what it means here. Now, to be in a soup means to be in trouble. If you break rules, you will land yourself in a soup. So what does it mean in a soup? See, it's very difficult to, take out the ingredients from the soup, to remove or to separate the ingredients of the soup. It's very, very difficult because all the ingredients are mixed up, and that's why we call it as a soup. So if something is inside the soup, it's very difficult to pick it out. So see the example again, see the usage in sentence. If you break rules, you will land yourself in a soup. It means you will land yourself in trouble if you break rules. And again, soup is hot. So definitely it stands for trouble. To know A to Z of means to know everything about a subject. So here, you must take Abel's advice. He knows the A to Z of the share market. So what do you mean by A to Z? It means to have the knowledge of each and every thing related to that of share market. Complete knowledge is A to Z. See, English has got 26 alphabets, A to Z. So when you say A to Z or A to Z, Z is the American pronunciation, it means you are having the complete knowledge of everything. Now, to go on a wild goose chase. It means to be a part of vague activity. See, I've told you about one thing. Any idiom is actually peculiar to that of language. In our country, we don't find somebody going on a wild goose chase. See, it's very difficult to chase wild goose. See the sentence. I had warned them that there was no use in working on the project. It was a wild goose chase, which means something that is not going to work out, be a part of vague activity. There is no idea that you will reach. It's very difficult to chase the wild goose and get it. So don't simply go after the project. It will not work out. To leave no stone unturned means to explore every alternative. And here you will understand how it can be used in sentence. The parents left no stone unturned to enable their disabled child to get good education. So each and every stone had been taken and looked into means each and every possibility has been explored. So they tried every method by which they could educate their child who is a disabled or differently abled person. So one more exercise is there in page number 19, that is matching the idioms with that of their meanings given in column B. That I hope you can do it. You take your workbook, try to understand the meaning. If you are not able to understand, try to check the dictionary or Google will help you. Now match and keep it, try to use them in sentences. These are all certain common expressions that we may need in future too. Now, whatever we have discussed today, all of them were idioms. Now, in my previous session, we have discussed phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are also idiomatic expressions having figurative or metaphorical meanings. So, when an exercise is given as part of this topic, some of the phrasal verbs are also included, and it has been purely picked from your prose lessons. Okay, so this is how questions come for your examination. And don't worry, nothing will come out of the textbook. Whatever questions are asked based on idioms, phrases and phrasal verbs, everything is clearly based on your prose lessons. So if you have a thorough knowledge of your prose chapters, you will be able to clearly answer them. So let me just read out one example, one question from one of the question papers. This is how it comes for the examination. Fill in the blanks with suitable idioms and phrases given in brackets. And your allotted marks actually is 2. 2 marks is allotted for idioms and phrases put together. Here there are 3 blanks and 3 phrases are given. You have to just use it. Baswaya dash an idea of acquiring Tamanna's land. So, which idiom suits here? Baswaya hit upon an idea of acquiring Tamanna's land. So, hit upon, it's a phrasal verb. So, that has got, that will fit into this fill in the blanks. He went dash his people and acquired 200 acres of Tamanna's land forcibly. And here it means along with. He went along with his people. A fence was dash that land. A fence was built around that land. So, there are 3 blanks, 3 idioms in the brackets. You have to fill each blank with the right expression. Let's see one more example. So, the question will be, fill in the blanks by choosing the appropriate expression given in brackets. 2 into 1 equal to 2. So, 1 mark for filling in the blank. Filling in 1 blank helps you to fetch 1 mark. It's taken from the chapter 2 dear. The man replied, "You have ruined my character by your sentence and people will dash on me." So, you have got 3 idioms and from that you have to choose 1. So, which will fit in here? People will turn their backs on me. What do you mean by turn their backs? Turn their backs means people will never be friendly, people will go away, people will refuse to interact with me, people will always look at me as a murderer. So, turning their backs means going away from you, refusing to interact with you. See the continuation. Besides, I have dash of working. And the answer will be got out of the way of working. So, what do you mean by got out of the way? Got out of the way means I do not have the habit of working now. I have stopped it. 1 year I have been in jail, I have been put in prison and now I don't have the habit of working hard. So, from the 3 phrases given in the brackets, you have chosen 2 and 1 to fill in each blank and that's how you get 2 marks in your pocket. So, hope the lesson on idioms and phrases as well as phrasal verbs have been clear to you. If you have any doubts with respect to this, reach out to me through the WhatsApp or when we have Zoom classes. So, always remember, idioms are expressions having metaphorical meanings. They are peculiar to a language that helps you to improve your language usage. It also helps you to be aware of certain cultural and traditional practices of the people who speak that language, and moreover, it makes your language interesting, you sound different and you sound creative. So, that's all about idioms and phrases. Thank you.